Facebook Live, what's going on, people? Hey, I want to share something with you guys, man. 14 years ago to the day is when I was arrested at 23 years old, and I was charged with attempted murder, and I was facing life in prison. 14 years ago, man. I've been reflecting on this, and I just can't believe the life that I'm living now compared to what those moments felt like. You know, I was arrested at gunpoint by the SWAT team. The forensic unit was there. They had police dogs. There was like 15 cop cars in the street. They pulled me and my friend over, and they put me on my knees, put my hands behind my head, and walked up and put an AR-15, multiple AR-15s to the back of my head, and put me on the ground and handcuffed me. And it was a surreal moment. You know, I'm reflecting on it right now, and it almost feels like it was a dream. You know, that first part of my life where I was so broken, so hopeless. I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. I had been through so much turmoil in my life from the age of 13 to 23 that I didn't really feel like I was going to live much longer. I was so close to death, man, with the amount of alcohol and drugs I was putting in my body, and I was so reckless. I'd go out all night, party. You know, I was just wild, man. I felt invincible. The amount of pills, drugs, alcohol that I would consume in a 24-hour period, like, I'm so lucky that I'm alive today, you guys, because back then I had a lot of friends and even family members who didn't wake up from those nights. You know, they didn't wake up, man. They didn't get a second chance like I got. I got a second chance for a reason, you know, but I had to go through some shit to get here, you know, and God intervened in my life and got my attention the only way possible for me to change. And that was hitting me with that blue band when I walked into the county jail, and a life sentence hanging over my head. You know, you walk into a holding tank and you got a blue band on your wrist, and everyone starts looking at you because they all got green bands on, right? That means that they have either misdemeanors or lesser felonies. A blue band means you're facing life in prison, okay? So guys, for murder, kidnapping, attempted murder, and I had a blue band on. And I remember when I was getting booked in and they told me what my charges were. They give you like a 2-minute phone call before they dress you and house you. And I called my Uncle Mike, who was the person that was always there for me in my life, the person that really like saved my life as a young individual when I didn't have guidance from my parents. And I said, Mike, I'm in jail. He goes, Sean, what happened? What's going on? I said, I'm charged with attempted murder, Mike. I don't know what's going on. And that was it. Like, the phone call hung up. And I remember just choking back tears. In that moment, I was so weak, man. I was so broken. And I didn't realize that God was intervening in my life. You guys, sometimes you're going through these trials and facing these challenges, and you're just getting beat down by life, and you don't realize that it's God intervening in your life to direct you on another path, to get your attention, to forge strength within you. See, in that moment, I didn't have strength, physically, mentally, or spiritually. I was so weak. I had been using drugs and alcohol every day. I didn't go after goals. I didn't build myself up. I didn't do the stuff that I'm teaching now. And so every day I was just weakening myself. I didn't have self-control. When I had an impulse, I acted upon it. Oh, there's a pretty girl over there at the party. Let's go, you know, oh, there's drugs and alcohol. Let's go. Like, whatever that pleasure-seeking behavior was, I was all in on it. And so I sat in my jail cell, man, for those first couple of weeks, just in shock and awe that this was happening to me. And I remember the thing that really changed my life was starting to reflect on what I had done with the time that I was given. Like, what I had actually accomplished. And I was going through my memory trying to find things that I was proud of or things that I accomplished to help me make sense of my life, to help me realize, like, think like, oh, well, you know, it's over, but at least I did this or at least I did that. And the truth was, there was nothing that I could point to that I was genuinely proud of. The only thing that stood out was that I graduated high school. Like, dude, that's what everyone should do, is graduate high school, right? But for me, I was such a messed up kid that I dropped out for a while. You know, I didn't go to school. They let me go to a continuation school and come back the last semester and walk in the ceremony and graduate and do the whole deal. And that was the only thing that I could find that I was proud of. And I remember sitting there in my jail cell thinking, how pathetic, Sean. Like, as a kid, you were so ambitious. You had so many dreams. You had goals. You had self-belief. You had a desire to excel in this life. Like, as a kid, I wanted to be the greatest. I wanted to be the best. If you grew up playing sports or you watched, like, sports on TV, you'd always envision making the game-winning shot. Or Rocky, right? Winning in the 10th round, hitting the dude and knocking him out like the KO. Like, I wanted to be a superstar, man. I wanted to be the main character. I wanted to do great things in my life. But because of my wounds, my pain, the way I reacted to life circumstances, I didn't pursue that version of myself. And this is so many people out there right now, they don't even realize they're contributing to the regret and pain they're going to feel one day at the end of their life. If you are not on the right path, you are going to regret every decision and every moment, okay? When you get to the end and you look back on your life, you're going to go, why did I do that to myself? I knew who I wanted to be. Why did I spend so much time procrastinating, making excuses? Why did I spend so much time living as that other person? These are all the things that stood out to me when I just sat in my cell 24 hours a day and reflected. And the regret that I experienced was the most pain I've ever known in my life. The thought of spending life in prison felt just surreal. I couldn't even connect to that, It was like, man, what is that? Like, you can't even fathom living in a jail cell for the rest of your life. But the pain that I experienced, the regret, that moment, like, I felt that. I understood what that meant for me. And the main thing that stood out was that I had a version inside of me that I always wanted to be. The person that God was calling me to become. In my conscience, I knew the right thing to do. I knew who I was supposed to be, but I ignored that voice and I chose to do what I wanted. And that's why so many people lack gratitude. That's why so many people fail to achieve success. That's why so many people can't look in the mirror and feel proud of who they are, because they're still trying to do it their way instead of surrendering and committing to that path that God is calling them to take. I had to face life in prison, you guys, and do 5.5 years to get completely broken down to understand this. To the point where every day I get up and I surrender my will and what my ego or my flesh wants, and I'm all in and committed to God's purpose in my life. I started doing that 14 years ago. Shortly after I was incarcerated, okay, I made a commitment that I was going to get sober and stay sober the rest of my life. Shortly after I was incarcerated, before I knew how much time I was going to do, I made a commitment that every single day I was going to be the best version of myself. That I was going to listen to that voice that was always calling me to be a better man. I was going to commit to the actions, and I would never quit or give up. That was 14 years ago. I wake up today to my beautiful family, my daughter Bella, 1 year old, running around the living room, laughing, playing, bringing me up books to read to her. Preston brings out his dinosaurs this morning, and we're playing with his dinosaurs, man. And Scarlett, man, she ran into our room this morning. She had a bad dream. I got to cuddle with her. I see my beautiful wife who runs the household, who takes care of us, man. We built a life together. We built this life together, and I'm so grateful for her. And I'm so grateful for my children. And I'm so grateful for all those moments of pain and suffering that I endured as a young man, because now I know how to do it the right way. Now I had to show up for my kids in the way that they need, because I didn't have that man. I didn't have that father. I didn't have that leader. I didn't see my mom and dad treat each other the way they were supposed to. That screwed me up. But you know what? If you are willing to embrace the life lessons in front of you, you don't run or numb out that pain. You stay present. There is invaluable lessons in the moments of suffering that we endure that will shape you into a better person. And because I stayed present when I was incarcerated, because I felt all the pain and all the heartache and all the emotion that I had been suppressing for years with drugs and alcohol, it unlocked superpowers in my brain. It forged a connection with God and my spirituality that I can't even describe with words, because I stayed present and I didn't numb myself. I learned the lessons. I transformed. I reprogrammed the way I think. I changed the way I operate. And then I was able to come home as that man, a different version of me, a 2.0 version, an evolved version. And this is the version of me that I always wanted to be. This is the guy that when I look in the mirror, I'm so proud of. And that's the most important thing, because I didn't have that as a young man. And that's why I needed drugs. And I had false bravado. And I sought validation from others, because I couldn't look in the mirror and feel proud of who I saw. And that right there is where success starts, you guys. The greatest gift in the world is being able to look in the mirror and love who you see, and know that you are living the best life that you possibly could. Free of excuses. You're facing fears. You're going after the goals that God put on your heart to achieve. You're being a good person for others, the best leader. And you know what happens is when you truly love yourself to this degree, you can then share and transfer that love to others. And if you are a parent or a husband or a wife or a business owner and you truly care about others, if you're just a human being and you want to do good in this life, you will never be able to do the good that God put on your heart if you can't master yourself. A man that can master his thoughts and his daily actions can conquer anything in life. And you show up for people at such a high level. And that's when you can change their lives. That's when you're the best leader. That's when you set an example that has a ripple effect far into the future. And I've been able to do that. I just sit here overcome with gratitude, you guys, to be able to sit in a parking lot and just have tears of gratitude stream down my face for the choices I've made, you know, for the things that I've been able to experience, for the life that I've been able to create. This is the most beautiful feeling in the world, man. And right now, nothing else even exists beyond this moment. It's just the truth. The truth about what I went through and how I reacted, what I did with the hand that I was dealt, you know, and I have nothing but gratitude in my heart because I made the right choice and I started to listen and pay attention. And every day I get up and I surrender my will for God's will. And I'm willing to do the work and I'm going to show up and get better every day. And I'm never going to stop. I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to give up because I want to be a positive example for other people. And I want to help you change your life. And I want to help you be an example for your children so they grow up with the right perspective, so they can create a ripple effect in your community and in this world, man. And together we can do so much good. And, you know, I'm just a vessel of God's message. I prayed every day in jail to be a catalyst when I came home, right? A vessel, man, a vessel of his energy, a conduit of thy energy to help others realize and feel what he put on my heart. And so you guys, today I'm just reminded, 14 years later, I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful for the things that I had to endure. And my message for you guys is if you're going through anything that's challenging you, embrace it, stay present, grow stronger through it, learn the lessons, apply them in your life. Man, I'm telling you, there's a path right now that is so perfect for you. There's a path that you're meant to take. There's a version of you that I know you want to become. And I know what it's like to feel stuck. I know what it's like to feel hopeless. I thought my whole life was going to be like that. But then God intervened and gave me a second chance. So I'm going to keep showing up every day and share my message, pour my heart and soul into this damn phone, to those stages, to my children, to you, anybody that I come across, man. This is how I'm showing up every day. And this is a byproduct of doing the work, right? This is a byproduct of living this out. Like, this is authenticity. This is pure passion. This is emotion. You can't fake this. And for the longest time, I played a role. I played a character. I had to fake the way I felt. I had to say things that I thought other people wanted to hear. And today, I just get to be me, 100% authentic. And guess what? When you live in alignment like that, all the success, all the things you want start to gravitate towards you. The relationships, the opportunities, I'm telling you, man, it's the most beautiful existence you could ever fathom. So today, I hope that this message touched somebody that needed to hear it. I'm always here to talk to you. If you have something you want to open up or share with me, shoot me a DM, comment below. I love you guys. I hope you do good in your life today. Let's go out and change the world together.